and shifted over top of Major League Baseball.
World Series going on right now.
World Series, yep, it's what 3-0 to the Dodgers at the moment, so they have to win one more of the series, and they'll beat the Yankees in a sweep.
Then the NHL.
I think NHL and baseball, it just depends on what month of the year you're in and what part of the country you're in. I think if you're on the East Coast, specifically the Northeast, it's probably big hockey season. They love their hockey over there. And then the further south you go, you're probably more into baseball region of the world. So it really just depends on geographically where you are in the U.S.
And then MLS, the soccer is growing big time. We've seen Major League Cricket make great strides its first couple of years. Still a long way away from those kind of big four or big five, if you will, but certainly steps being taken.
Yeah, you can see it starting to almost plant itself in some kind of a landscape. Again, not going to be in the big four in the next year or two, but just getting on CBS Sports or finding their way into mainstream media.
Got him. And it's Cammy that gets past Umid. The player of the match from 4 days ago is being cleaned up. It's a simple old game. You hit the top of off stump, you can't go too wrong, and that's exactly what Cammy's just done.
Over the first time in Grand Prairie, Andrew Mead's been dismissed. Wasn't out in the practice match they had, wasn't out against the USA, but this is just brilliant. It was going to take something brilliant to get rid of Andy Umid, who was just covering the swing so well. And look at that. He's probably just played down the wrong line a touch, but it's how much it's moved away. Just that little shape late that's done Umid in. Very well done from Sopal Kame to bring up wicket number 2.
So Andrew Umid cleaned up with an absolute perler. A real Jaffa, a beauty from Sampal Kami. He is bold, clean bowled for 14. It's 26 for 2. Well, not much that Andrew Umid can do about this. I know you're saying he played the wrong line, but I'm not even sure if he did. It's that good a delivery. And you talk about extravagant movement. You don't need extravagant movement. Have another look at this from Sampal Kami. He's a skillful bowler. And again, I think it's hit the seam. It's only gone a fraction, hasn't it? And maybe it's as much as anything the angle of the bat coming down from Umid rather than the wrong line being played.
Yeah, you can just see he's almost trying to play this 2 mid on. But a lot of credit here goes to Sampal Kami. It's almost nitpicky on Andrew Umid, who's been so brilliant. And he's coming wide of the crease as well. And I think that's what's probably done Umid in. He's just anticipating it to almost just meet his bat as he looks to play to mid on. That late movement, like you said, doesn't need to be huge. Ever so slightly with decent amount of pace is always going to be threatening.
Well, coming new to the crease, the non-striker's end, that's Richie Barrington. There's another one, beats the outside edge. They've got 2 in the power play. Imagine they could get a third. That would really make it. Nepal's power play. There's Richie Barrington. That's across all sorts of formats that we have in the Cricket Club system. Strike rate up above 90 between T20 and ODI cricket. He is a fine player. He's a fine captain. And I'm not going to lie, I thought he struggled initially the first 6 months with the captaincy. Taking over from Kyle Coates was always kind of the vice. He was always the kind of senior player in the group that wasn't leading. And I thought that affected his game. He didn't get many runs. He's really now embraced the captaincy. He's taken it as his own. This is his Scottish side. And it's crazy to think he's 37. He looks like he's in his late 20s.
It looks like he can play for another 10 years. Just he's in great shape. And I think you're right. I think the way he's almost shifted the gear and really accepted the captaincy, it almost felt that he was just trying to be, just not really trying to embrace that he was the captain. And I'll say, no. It's there's still other guys that we'll look to in the group. He wasn't trying to be the leader, but I think he's best suited as the leader. He's best suited to utilize his experience and really provide this team with great insight. And I think that's what you've seen him do. And it's almost just freed him up because he's not worried about what every individual on the team is going to think of him. He understands that he's the senior man. He's the man that they're all looking to. And now since he's embraced that, it just feels like it's cleared his mind when he's gone out to bat because he knows the plan is accepted by the team. He knows he can play to a plan and that the plan is going to go his way.
It's a funny old thing. Captaincy doesn't sit right with everyone, and for maybe the first 6-9 months As KC beats the outside edge again, we didn't know whether it was going to sit right with Richie Barrington. Everyone thought he would be a good leader, but it's difficult to replace someone like Kyle Coates, who'd done it for so long in such a brilliant manner. But now this is very much Barrington's team. I think all Scottish fans would love for him to keep going as long as he can. I won't tell you which member of the Scottish support staff told me this, because I don't want to break their confidence, but they told him he's simply not allowed to return. He's that integral, he's that important. Certainly whilst this member of the support staff is still there, Barrington's not allowed go. He's got to keep playing. As that one jags back in, it's going a long way over the top. No real interest in the appeal. Jermaine Lindo won't be pushed by that. Thought he was very good 2 days ago.
Yeah, the umpiring's been quite good, and Jermaine Lindo, he's a staple here in the USA. He does a lot of the events here, and he's one of the senior, you talk about senior members of squads, he's a senior member of the umpiring committee that goes all along the USA. This one, very well up in the air. I think that was the big question. I thought on first look it did hit him right in the thigh pad. This is actually on the back thigh pad, so even higher up on the leg, but Casey asking the right questions. To your point about Barrington, I think stepping into Kyle Coates' role is always going to be tough, and you reckon he was almost just trying to be Kyle Coates rather than being Richie Barrington, and since becoming himself in the captain, he's just opened up.
Gets us to the end of the 9th over, 26 for 2. Nepal will be really pleased with the start. They'd love if they could get by one of these two-star right-handers for Scotland. Yeah, you think about his legacy as a player. Barrington, the first Scottish cricketer to play more than 300 times for his country. The thing I've really enjoyed over the last 18 months is he's finally been getting a bit of a go in some franchise leagues as well. GT20 in Canada, that Cayman Islands T10 competition, and I hope, there's nothing announced yet, and I don't know that there's anything coming, but I really hope that he gets a gig in the Nepal Premier League. You would imagine that his skills, particularly against spin, his slog sweep, the quality of his fielding still, you would really hope that he might get a go out there. Mark Watt's another one who might be announced. We've already seen Brandon McMullen and Chris Soule both signed in that Nepal Premier League. No George Munsey. I wonder, is that because of the Abu Dhabi T10? Again, Munsey would be the other one if he gets fit. We know he's out of the squad at the moment with the I think it's a hamstring injury. But the reason there's so much quality in the Scottish side, it shows why they're one of the best teams in the world. Very much capable of beating Test Nations. Or are they the best associate team in the world, or do you, in the men's game, back the Netherlands over them?
I reckon Scotland, just the tradition in which they've done it, I think the longevity in which they've been at the top, it would just keep them at the top at the moment. I think the Dutch are very, very hot. They've got all the things clicking for them. But I think what Scotland bring are just, again, an understanding of how to win. They've done it for so long. They have that outstanding tradition, and that's just hard to replace. I think for the Dutch, if they continue down this path that they've been on, they can very much compete with Scotland as the best associate side. But I think Scotland, just for how long they've done it, for how good they've been, it's hard to go away from them. And then you speak to the quality of player as well. They have so many guys who can just beat you on any given day. It's not, one-man show for them. It's not, if Barrington doesn't score, this team's not going to win. If Lees doesn't come in and take wickets, or Watt doesn't come in and take wickets, they're not going to have a chance. That anybody could beat you on any given day, and they're struggling to find the player of the match, even when Andy Umeed comes up with a 90 undefeated, because of how good the bowling was.
Oh, good delivery. That's what you want to do early to Barrington. Get full while his feet aren't moving yet. And it nearly squeezes through. Good time, Aman, to remind everyone to get in touch. We'd love to hear from you. We know it is early evening there, or kind of getting towards late evening in Nepal, just approaching 10 p.m. local time. You can use that hashtag CWCL2. You can send in public or private messages to me, Andrew Leonard, at Cricket Badge, Cricket BADGE. Tell us where you're watching from. Tell us your thoughts on the series so far. Tell us who you're supporting. We'd love to hear your messages. We'll read those out over the course of this first innings. If you have any questions for Aman Patel as well, get him on at AP Sports News _. I still can't find his handle. Don't worry, I'm sure you'll be able to. It's a double A. Aman.
There it
so
is.
that might. I wonder what happens if you search just for Aman Patel. Will that work?
It should come up. It is the name. That is what I have put it on
The
session.
name.
The name. They ask you your handle and then the name that you put out there. So it is
okay,
that.
the
Title that they
I thought
ask.
you were like
No.
the name as in like Prince
No.
or Beyonce.
No,
Aman.
nothing like that. Nothing like that at
Good
all.
fragrance, that wouldn't it? Aman. You can just feel it. Aman.
I think only when you say it, Lenny, you feel it.
Oh, beats the outside edge cam. He's on one here, isn't he? Got to keep going, these two. So yeah, if you've got any questions, we try not to read out the negative ones, but we're gonna go to a few of the dark ones today. Pranaya Gamir, he's messaged in. Why is Dipender Singh Airi still in the playing 11 after having an average of 18 in ODI cricket? Is he playing as a fielding all-rounder at cricket badge? Don't overhype him. Even if he's not scoring runs for the team on the basis of his fielding. Well, I'm sorry about building up a player that I think is one of the very best in the world. Yes, he's struggled in ODI cricket with his batting. I agree with you. As they're going to run a leg by here to close out what will be a maiden, but the extra comes from it. End of the power play. It belongs to Nepal. The score is 27 for 2. And I think you just have to look at Dipender Singh Airi in a different manner. You don't look at him by what he brings in terms of pure numbers. And that's not how you analyse the game. You analyse the game by watching it and seeing a player's value to the team. He's averaging 18, yes. He's a much better batter than that. But how many times has he come in with 4 overs to go in an innings where he's been asked to get quick runs and he puts the team first? How much does he add to you in terms of his fielding? Does he add 10, 15, 20 runs? In a 50-over game, he might add 15 or 20 runs, let alone the wickets that he can take with his fielding, the run-outs that he creates. And then we saw his value, particularly at the death, with his bowling against those 2 left-handers the other day.
Yeah, again, I don't think you can measure his value in stats. I don't think cricket has the stats yet to really measure, because in the field, he's a magnet. He's a tremendous mind out there. And then, like you said, he gives you different roles that you just don't have anywhere else. And I think he'd be the first to tell you, yeah, his batting hasn't been up to snuff the way he would like it to be. But if Dipender Singh Airi gets going, it's almost no better batter in ODI cricket at the tail end of an innings, especially when you talk about the role he would play. He's not someone who needs to come in and spend time to score. He can come in and hit from ball one. He comes in at the end, and he's able to be tremendous. And then in the field, you see there on your screen, he just runs around, he saves runs, and sure, he's averaging 18, but I assure you, he probably saves more than 18 runs a game, which is how good he is in the field.
Oh, another one. How's this? Berrington, none off 8, and real pressure building on the captain of Scotland. Hearing from lots of fans in Nepal, you can get those messages in at Cricket Badge on Twitter or Instagram. We'll read those out now. But also hearing from a few Scottish, not fans, but players. Great to hear from George Munsey and Chris Greaves. George Munsey correcting me. All he does is correct me in life. Or give out to me. One of the two. It's a torn tendon in his groin, not a hamstring.
There you go.
So he wants that to be clarified. We do wish you a speedy recovery, my friend. I think Aman thinks it as well. I think you're having one of the years of your career, 100%. And I hope you've got many more to come, because we love watching you bat. We really do. As Berrington finally gets off the mark from his 10th delivery. Also great to hear from Chris Greaves. I know that he's needing an operation on his left wrist. That's why he's missing out on this tour. And we want to see the leg spinning all-rounder back to his very best. He adds a lot of value. He's sort of an enigmatic cricketer, isn't he? He's highly entertaining to watch. He's hugely passionate. And he's someone that I've really enjoyed covering. Also, a man who loves his golf. So I'd say he's really missing this tour, given all the great courses here in Texas.
Yeah, Peter De La Penna's been telling us about all the great courses. I know you and him had a round, and he's a cagey cat, as I like to say. So, again, a lot of characters in associate cricket, and it's great to see them on full display. And coming to America, yes, we talk about the Mavericks, you got the Cowboys in town, but the golf courses is something that's been the talk of anyone who comes in, even from Major League Cricket. We heard a lot of the Australian and South African guys, especially part of Washington Freedom, said they were playing golf almost every day, even.
Multiple days. I think it was Tim David, Trent Bolt, and Quinton de Kock. They just weren't off the course, were they?
And I reckon they went to Pinehurst number 2 up in North Carolina.
That was where the US Open was this year.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, some of the hardest greens in the world, they reckon there. Yeah, look, America's got it all, doesn't it? You've got here. Down the leg side will be a wide. You've got your major sports to go and watch and enjoy. We got to a Texas Rangers game. It's amazing, actually, Dallas in particular. I know those two venues are technically in Arlington now, but it's a 20-minute drive out of the city. So you've got the American Airlines Centre downtown, and then you've got what's got to be one of the best baseball stadiums in the world, and then maybe the best NFL stadium in the world, in the Cowboy Stadium.
Yeah, it's a storied one, right? They talk about it, and when they built it, if you've never seen a picture of it, Google AT&T Stadium, and there's a big cutout right in the middle where the roof will almost retract, and it provides this little ray of sun onto the field. And they say, why is that ray of sun there? Well, that's how God watches football, they say. So God looks down, and you'll hear a lot of the players go out to the stars to celebrate, saying, God's watching me play on the highest stage.
11 ball, 29 for 2. So if God does watch football, it'd be in Texas.
It'd be in that's what they claim. That's what Jerry Jones and Dallas Cowboys will claim. And if anyone here knows about Terrell Owens or seen some of the celebrations he does, he ran out to the Star one time after scoring a touchdown, and he said, "Well, if God's watching football, well, he better be watching me on that day when I score a touchdown."
There's in fact one ball to come, just being waylaid by our scores because of the wide, and it will be KC will be looking to capitalise on extra ball. For the moment, McMullen and Berrington finding it heavy going. Understandably, these are friendly bowling conditions, particularly with that wind circling around the ground. Lots of questions coming in, lots of people asking where they can watch in Nepal, so we're going to run through this once more. I don't know how they're asking a question if they're not able to watch, but anyway, we will run through it. Styx Sports in Nepal is the official broadcast partner for this series. STYXsports.com. It's a free service. You can go in and register, set it up in there. Then in India, it's on fan code. In USA, in North America on Willow TV, and around the rest of the world, you can watch on ICC TV. You can even tune in on ICC TV actually here in North America too. It's not an exclusive deal that Willow have. Our thanks to everyone involved. Our thanks to Dream 11. Our thanks to the team at Willow, Todd Myers and everyone involved there. Our thanks to everyone in Fan Code for the support that they give, and our thanks to our production team. It's a skeleton production crew here doing a brilliant job in difficult conditions, and you're listening to me, Andrew Leonard, alongside my co-commentator Anand Patel. We're going to get to as many of those comments as we can. They're flooding in to me here at Cricket Badge. Use that hashtag as well. Nice message from my first home back in Dublin, not my second home in Nepal, from Shane. He says, "Hey Andrew, hope you're doing well at Cricket Badge. Greetings from Dublin 6 in Ireland, not far from where I grew up. Lucky you to be in the USA in the eye of a storm." And I don't think he's referring to the wind as Sandeep Lamachani comes into the attack. He's referring to the election storm that's coming up. I fly out, I think, on the night of the election, so I'm going to be safe and out of Dodge before anything happens. Get to Dubai for Afghanistan, Bangladesh. He says, as it stands now, do you see Scotland getting to 260 runs? I can understand why you're saying that total. I think it's so hard to give a predicted score because it's going to be a completely different second and third session than we'll see in the first one. In fact, I'm surprised they brought Lamachani on so early here.
I actually don't mind it. The amount of dip he gets, I think they're trying to use the wind, trying to use the new ball to get it to almost drift and maybe catch. I don't expect it to turn much. I think the one thing that players were talking about, there probably is a little bit of dew painting it, a little bit of a cold wicket, so hoping to just catch one of the grass leaves and then maybe just skid on or skid through.
There is that significant drift through the air, and the reason for that wind, as you go back to the main camera, you can actually see it's buffeting the jersey of Lamachani, and it's coming, as you look, from left to right. So that is the dream scenario for any leg spinner, because what he wants to do is drift the ball in to the right-hander and then turn it away. As Berrington goes to one of his favourite shots. In fact, it's McMullen, excuse me. It's also a Berrington speciality, but it's the slog sweep over the head of the one fielder in the circle at mid-wicket, and it's a boundary. Really good stroke.
Yeah, really nice, and I think it's just the width on offer from Sandeep Lamashana on this occasion. The other two very defensive because very close to off stump. This time, gave him the license to just free the hands, no deep mid-wicket, safe stroke in the end.
Googly out of the back of the hand. This is really close. This is gone. And look at the celebrations. I can't remember seeing Sandeep Lamachani as pumped up as that. And what a delivery. It was the perfect googly. He says to McMullen, you'll get me for one, you won't get me for two. The slog sweep was to the leg break. This out of the back of the hand, skids on. The question was, did it impact in line?
And I reckon it did. I don't think he got far enough across his stumps. And again, that's what the drift does. The googly, it just skidded through. It was rushed on to McMullen. He gets a start away, 16 off 36, but can't capitalize on the hard work he's put in. The option and the risk to go to the leg spinner works wonders for Nepal. Lamashane strikes, and there you go. That's wicket number 3, exactly what Nepal was after.
I don't think a wicket in Lamachane's career will mean much more to him than that. 2 days ago, we saw him very emotionally post up on Instagram that he was taking responsibility for the defeat against USA. He knows how much his country needed a win, and this is the glory of leg spin. The previous delivery was the leg break. Now watch the back of the hand. So that's it. It just rolls out, almost a top spinner out the side, but it turns enough in, and that was the deception. I think McMullen might have picked it late, but he knew he was in trouble. I think it's a good decision. It's 100% going to hit the stumps. The only thing Vijay Malala had to decide was, did it hit in line or not? I think it hit in line with the off stump. It's an outstanding piece of wrist spin bowling. It really is, and it also justifies a bowling change. Lamachani wicketless and expensive 2 days ago. He strikes. Scotland in real trouble.
Yeah, what a move from Rohit Bodal. Actually, in our live beforehand, some folks were just questioning the tactics of Rohit Bodal, and again, this is a fantastic move on his part.